This is the RAD Position with ASRT CEO and Executive Director Melissa Pergola. A podcast for medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals. Hi there, and welcome back to the RAD Position podcast. I'm ASRT CEO and Executive Director Melissa Pergola.
And I am her podcast partner, Ray Arambula.
Yeah, and today we have Dr. Beth Vealé, ASRT Treasurer. We're so excited to have you. We're going to talk about your passion for research and publishing. She's even a published textbook author.
Amazing. We're excited to learn more about that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dr. Valle. Dr. Valle is Professor Emeritus of Radiologic Science and former chair of the Shimatsu School of Radiologic Sciences in the Robert D. and Carol Gunn College of Health Sciences and Human Services at Midwestern State University in Wichita Falls, Texas. She has authored multiple peer-reviewed articles, co-authored the textbook Digital Imaging in PACS, and presented talks across the U.S. for 35 years. She is a former member of the ASRT Radiologic Technology Editorial Review Board, the ASRT Research and Grants Advisory Panel, Education Chapter Delegate for the ASRT, a former member of the ASRT Curriculum Review Committee, and is currently Treasurer of the ASRT Board of Directors. That's a lot of service. She is married almost 50 years, has one daughter, and is a grandma to 4 goats, a pregnant donkey, 2 dogs, and a cat. Welcome, Dr. Valle. Thank you for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Boy, I guess I have done a lot.
You've done a huge amount. So can you tell us about 2 of the positions that you've done? One, you were an ASRT Editorial Review Board member. Can you tell us about that? And then also, can you tell us about the ASRT Research and Grants Advisory Panel?
I didn't think about being on the editorial review board. And it was actually James Johnston, who was the chair of the board, that asked if I would be interested.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably one of the best research exercises I've ever done.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot. It taught me not to ignore statistics, which a lot of us do. We see that bump in the road and then go running the other way. And so I learned to research and figure that out. Plus, the minds that you meet, just the people who are on the board who've authored books or articles and come up with the ideas for short reports and things that we contributed to the journal. Yeah. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had, as it really taught me the value of research.
Yeah, it does. I was on the editorial review board for a few years too. And what I loved about it, it was an opportunity to mentor researchers too. And so at that time, we put the checklist available online, so that authors knew exactly what we were going to look for. And then since then, we created the mentoring program, where if someone submits a manuscript and it needs work, they can be assigned a mentor. Just amazing work being done by the ERB. And so important, right? Because we said we need more research in our profession.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody knows who we are till we get out there.
Yes.
Yeah, it taught me so much. And I was able to take that back to my students.
Yes.
Not just our master's students, but our baccalaureate undergraduates, entry level, and they take research and then have to write a paper in a second class. So yeah, it's been fascinating. It was a great time. In fact, I was very sad to leave. I cried a little bit. And
Yeah, it's so important, the work that they do. I remember, I'll tell you a funny story. So the first time I tried to get published, it was with the ASRT. And it was back in the day when you had to make 3 copies.
Yes.
Talk about how old I am. When you had to make 3 copies and send them in, and 3 reviewers took red markers. And then I got this big package back with my 3 copies with all of the red marks through it. And
we call that bloodying.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
It's
now it's online, so it's not red, but you still get that. And so when I had the opportunity to teach students research, I explained to them, that's not just ASRT. There's a standard to be a peer review published author. And I had a good mentor at the time. He said, you know what? It's fine. This happens to everybody. Like rarely is anything accepted right away. What you have to do now is put the work in. and listen to those experts. And I did, and I got it published. And it was such a horrifying and wonderful experience.
The big thing, I think, is you just have to do it. Time passes anyway.
Yes, yes. So you have been doing publishing for many years. So you have this impressive history related to your research. And you've been an editorial review board member for the ASRT and a member of the ASRT Research and Grants Advisory Panel.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about how these volunteer positions affected you and why volunteering and research is important to you?
Well, I probably should preface it by saying research was never on my radar.
Really?
But once I started, it started with a local, like the physicians group, the County Medical Association.
Yes.
And a friend of mine who was the chair of the department at that time said, help me write this. Well, okay. Well, I just started looking in the newspaper for things. When things started, it was all about our program. And I found that interesting. And it got published. And then just over time, I started publishing articles because the university required it. And I got interested. I love presentations.
Yes.
And so a good PowerPoint presentation is a great introduction to a research article. So you've done all the research and you have all the articles. So go slide by slide and turn that into a paper.
Nice. We'll be right back after this short message.
Launch a journey of giving and winning with the ASRT Foundation Annual Drawing. Each $25 ticket gives you one chance to win big while supporting programs that empower medical imaging and radiation therapy students and professionals. Win amazing travel opportunities or cash prizes. Only ASRT members are eligible to purchase tickets and claim prizes. Get your tickets by May 31st at foundation.asrt.org/win-win.
Yeah.
And so you've published several articles, even co-authored a textbook.
Yes.
So can you tell our listeners how you got started publishing?
When I got on the editorial review board, this is after publishing probably 13 articles.
Wow.
Then I started learning about other people and what they were interested in, and then what things you could see in research that I'd never thought of before. And so after that, I started teaching a master's program. And they have to research.
Yes.
And so I had to figure out how to do it even better. I kind of got started that way. And the book, the lady that wrote it with me, Christy Carter, was my student at one time. And then she became the department chair of Brookhaven College prior to becoming Dallas College. Yes. And we were at a seminar, I think it was a CERT in Vegas one year. And she came up to me and said, let's write a book. Wow. So we said, okay, let's write a book. And this was really at the very beginning of informatics and PACS and also of digital imaging. It had only been around for us for like 4 years. I know CT had been around a while, but the depths had not been around that long. And so I really credit Anthony Siebert out of University of California. And so we were able to write that first business of CR.
Yes.
And then last edition, we got rid of most of the CR. And now this edition, it'll be all DR and what's new in informatics.
Wow.
So
one of the things that stands out to me with what you said is that you had someone who was a student and then a colleague, and you got together networking at an event and came together and said, we need to solve a problem. And together you did something amazing. You published a textbook. And I think that for me, the moral of that story is, particularly when we're talking about research, is if you're fearful, because it is scary. I remember the first time I tried to publish, it's scary. That if one thing you can do is you can find like-minded colleagues and maybe you can work together.
Exactly. And, you know, I believe the ASRT in the journal still puts the ERBs, puts their email addresses on there. And I would urge any technologist that wants to write to get a hold of those folks. And even me sitting on the board, I'm more than happy to give advice or help somebody who's wanting to start.
Yes, yes. And we need that body of knowledge for our profession.
We do.
Yeah. So what advice do you have to medical imaging and radiation therapy program directors to promote research?
Do an internet search first.
Yes.
Teach them how to use Google Scholar. That's one of the easiest ways to find articles because to the right-hand side of what you pull up, it tells you what database it came out of.
Yes.
Students need to know that Google is not a database, neither is a library.
Yes.
They house databases, but they are not a database.
Mm-hmm.
And so that distinction is really important. And then once they do that, I show my students how to cut it down. For example, I want to write an article on TB. So I say, okay, I want you to go to Google Scholar and Google TB.
Yes.
And it comes up 6.9 million articles. And I say, okay, look through that first page.
Yeah.
Is there anything that sticks out? How about you change on the left side the years that you're looking at? Only look at the last 5 years.
Sure.
Then see how many have. Oh, you only have 1.2 million. That's awesome. Start looking at it.
So, Beth, thank you for that insight around the many ways we can do research and the many just avenues to pursue. But let's talk about your time on the board so far. And what have you learned about the ASRT during your board service?
As I was looking into running for the office, I realized also that I was one of 356,000 plus. And why not me?
Yes.
I've been in this profession for 40 years.
Wow.
And didn't know for a long time that was an opportunity for me. I knew about our state society. I knew nothing about the National Society. And so when I started meeting people and dealing with people who'd been on those boards, they started filling me in on what a great service it was. And I believe in paying back the profession. So if there's something I can do that makes even a tiny little ripple to make it better for technologists, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because we've been not seen for far, far too long. It'll change your perspective on the board. It'll change your perspective on our profession. It'll change your perspective on service, service learning, students. It's the most inspiring thing I've done.
Yes. And you should be proud.
I love what I've been asked to do. The work part of it is absolute manna from heaven to me, is to be asked to be part of the biggest part of our profession.
Yes.
What makes the rules? What gets us going forward?
Yes.
I'm in.
Nice. Well, we want to thank you for your how many years of service?
Almost 40?
Almost 40?
Almost 40 years of being a radiologic technologist.
Yes.
Wow.
35 years or 36 years now of being a member.
Wow. Wow. And then all of the other things that you've done with research and promoting research and even publishing a textbook. It's been really, really cool to talk to you and hear about that journey.
Well, thank you. It was easy. It was easy. This profession's worth it.
Yeah.
You do those things to advance your profession. It's like, what's that saying? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's right.
Well, I've volunteered for what I love, and I've never worked a day in my life.
Well, thank you so much for that, Beth. Now we're going to transition into a game. This one I'm calling Title Teasers.
Teasers, okay.
For this game, I'm going to give you 3 different research paper titles.
Oh.
2 of them are real and 1 is fake.
Oh, I love games like this. Okay.
And you have to guess the fake one.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, Beth, obviously you're the clear choice winner, given your research background. But let's see if Melissa surprises us. I doubt it. But.
Nice.
She's way smarter than I am. We'll see.
No.
She can talk a game. Okay. So we're going to go with the first round. MRI finds extra tooth growing in brain. Second title, CT scan reveals a live spider in a patient's ear. And the third title, X-ray confirms patient swallowed a TV remote. Which do you think is the fake one? How about you, Beth? We'll start
2.
with 2.
I'm going to say number 1.
Number 1. Interesting. Well, you're both wrong.
Oh, get out.
The third one is the fake.
Here's the thing. We both worked in imaging and people swallow all kinds of things. And that's why that actually I would have thought was the only one that I was sure was right. What about you, Beth?
Yeah. And also, it's very difficult to show a spider on a CT. Please, I want to recount.
Okay, well, we have 2 more rounds.
We're at 0-0.
We're at 0. You guys are tied. So, okay, here's the second round.
Okay.
Okay, first title. Caffeine improves radiologist accuracy.
Okay.
Second title, radiologists blink less when focused.
What?
And the third title, background noise affects MRI readings.
Okay.
Oh, I got this one.
Okay,
you?
Beth, go ahead. What is
One.
the fake one? Fake. First title is the fake.
Yep.
Melissa,
I'm going to say 2.
say 2. Beth, you are correct.
Oh.
Last round.
Okay.
First title, CT scans reveal hidden tumor patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Second title, AI uses X-rays to determine biological age.
Mm-hmm.
And the third title, MRI can predict a person's intelligence. Which is the fake one?
Hard.
I'm going to say number 3.
I don't want to say the same one. So I'm going to say number 2.
I would have went with yours.
Yeah?
However, Beth is
So we're
correct.
both wrong. Beth.
Like I said, we have a clear choice winner.
Wow.
But thank you for playing, Melissa.
Oh, gee. You're welcome.
That might be I might have had a little bit of edge. I taught MRI for 25 years.
Okay.
Oh, so unfair.
Well, thank you for playing along.
Thank you.
Oh, so now while we have you here, we do something called the We See You segment. And we have members who write in to our email or use our form on our site, and they can ask us questions, tell us stories about their amazing career. And so we want you to stay with us for this question and kind of help us answer it.
Be glad to.
Hello, my name is Heather Kep. I've been a radiologic technologist for 28 years, and I'm currently serving as the president of the Louisiana Society of Radiologic Technologists. I have a question. Like many other states, we are concerned about encroachment. How can we boost interest in the vital legislative and regulatory issues? How do you keep people engaged and informed on advocacy issues?
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all dealing with that,
Mhm.
right? So I hear 2 parts to that question. One is, how do we get people interested in policy issues? And then the other is really about, how do we keep them engaged and informed? So if it's okay, I'll kind of start with the how to boost interest. And when I think about how to boost interest, I think about making things personal. So sometimes we think about policy issues kind of in the abstract, or maybe we don't truly understand how it impacts us or how it affects us. So I think that the short answer I would give is storytelling. So I think to get people interested, we have to learn to tell them stories about how it impacts them, their family, their livelihood, their job, and then sharing those stories about why advocacy matters. Storytelling is so powerful in general, but I think to try to help people understand why it matters, I think that would be my suggestion for that part.
Yeah, and I think in addition with that, testimonials
Yes.
go a long way as well. They help
Yes.
highlight, I think, why legislation is important,
Mhm.
especially around patient safety concerns. But I also think too, one person can't do it alone. It takes, others who are also passionate about advocacy and helping spread that awareness as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd look at it from a different side.
Yes.
As a manager, I learned that the least likely to join in and do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best way to approach them with something like this, when you want to get them involved, is enter into it with, I went to this meeting, or I saw this, or I did this. This is perfect for you.
Yes.
You would be great at this. I would be happy to help you do a presentation locally. If you pump people up, instead of going, I had a great time, you should have gone. And then talking about everything else they did, but what they learned at the meeting. And nobody wants to come back and give a report. That's how I engage it.
Yeah.
What an impact that has made in my life, in my career, by someone stepping out and being bold and telling me to do something, volunteer for this position.
We could say you should give invitations, because that's kind of what I heard you say, right?
Following
you
courage.
invited that person. And when you said that too, I think about mentoring, right? We want to get people engaged. We need to invite them and we need to mentor them.
And we need to be prepared for those technologists that say, it's not going to do me any good. You're right. It might not do you any good, but you're so good at what you do that you could make it better for other people. You would be the best person to do that. So sometimes it's not just wanting to be a mentor, it's encouraging people to be the mentor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in addition to mentoring, it's also sort of lifting people up to let them know the value that they bring and that they can do things and they can also mentor others.
I think that's our job.
Yeah.
And we also have resources. People can stay informed at asrt.org/advocacy action center.
So what a great episode. Thank you, Dr. Vealé, for talking to us about research and how we can get people involved in research, what educators can do, what we can do as RTs, and telling us about your nearly 40-year career, which I'll say again, even the authoring of a textbook.
Yes. Thank you for your significant contribution and your continued leadership that you currently play in your role as ASRT board member and just simply talking to you.
Oh,
fascinating
thank you.
person.
This has been great fun for me. I love talking about a profession. So
yeah. We'll be right back after this short message. Want to revitalize your career? Treat yourself to top-notch education and connect with colleagues and leaders in the profession in scenic Reno, Nevada. Register now for the 2025 ASRT Educational Symposium, where you can earn 6 continuing education credits in topics such as patient care, medical imaging regulations, RT advocacy, and emerging trends in the profession. While you're there, don't miss the ASRT Expo Hall, the ASRT Annual Governance and House of Delegates meeting, or any of the other special events that follow the symposium. Register by May 18th at asrt.org/symposium and save with advanced registration. Hey, Ray.
Hey, Melissa.
It's time for our updates.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Don't put yourself in a bad position.
Stay up to date with the RAD Position. So I would like to take a moment to update our listeners about some resources they can use to learn more about ASRT's advocacy initiatives. The ASRT is a tireless advocate for the medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals, so we provide valuable information about legislation affecting you and your patients. The ASRT website's advocacy section includes information about state licensure laws, federal regulations, and maps that track legislation by state. To learn more, visit the ASRT Advocacy Action Center. And there you can learn about state and federal issues affecting RTs and communicate with lawmakers, regulatory agencies. It's easy to use and effective, so go to asrt.org/advocacy.
That was a great episode.
It was.
Yeah, research is so important.
Yes.
It's so important. So I'm glad that we had Dr. Vealé here to talk about how educators can get their students into research and how RTs, a lot of times we don't think as we're a clinician that we can publish, but RTs can publish.
Yeah, and it was good to hear her vast experience around mentoring around that and being somewhat of a mentor and getting people involved and letting them know it's okay to be rejected or see a lot of red.
That's true. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we hope you're watching. So don't forget to check us out on YouTube.
That's right. And don't forget to write in at radposition@asrt.org, or you can fill out the form at asrt.org/radposition.
And to all our medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals, be seen
and stay rad.